Last year, Atlanta FaZe, they got second. So many different tournaments. It was a story all season with this roster.
Why was Atlanta FaZe placing second so often last year? Maybe it was because of the fundamentals in some of their game modes.
Granted, they did have the best overall season outside of the LA Thieves, placing second. That was a disappointment because this is a team that was known to get first, and what held them back was their search and destroy.
Their S&D wasn't as good as it came into this year.
For these guys coming into this year, making a controversial roster change, a lot of people thought Allyckt should have stayed on the roster. Allyckt being Arcides, he's a world champion, he's proven, he's talented. They make that roster change and they pick up Slasher, a guy who's had he's had turmoil over the last couple seasons. Now, he did get a championship last year, but there's people starting to question whether he still had it in him. Well, guess what? They bring him in and they struggle at that first major, and there's not even any rumors of them making a change. They just stick to it, they figure it out, and now they are the best search and destroy team in the game, almost setting records when it comes to search and destroy win streaks. I think that they are back on form. They are the top dog, and the gap with them and the rest of the league is pretty wide right now.
I think that they've definitely figured it out for a lot of people, but I think their team chemistry this year is a lot better than it was last year. And I think they are recognizing their problems a lot faster than they did last year. And also their search and destroy just looks unstoppable, completely ahead of the game. How do I think Slasher coming in affects the team? They wanted him for search and destroy, and what is funny is at the beginning of the season, it didn't really feel like he added that much more to the team. We all hyped it up as like this huge roster change and it was going to be so groundbreaking, and I feel like their first couple of showings really wasn't, but then they go and they win. Okay, so they win Major 2, so I think now we are kind of seeing what they were trying to do with this roster change.
So I think he just breeds a really good culture, something for these three guys that they can attach themselves to. I just think these guys being so young and having so much fun and being free on the map, maybe at times they need a little bit more structure, and that's where Slasher comes in as like that mature voice who can really rally the guys together in those moments and like, hey guys, let's stop having fun and let's figure this out.
Is Slasher putting up the biggest numbers? No, but sometimes that's not what you need. Sometimes it's just a matter of team chemistry. Sometimes it's a matter of somebody making a play call or clutching up, impact kills. Impact kills aren't always high KDs. Sometimes they're just, the final 1v2 to give you the momentum you need, and sometimes it's the first blood in the round 11s. So I think that's what Slasher kind of adds to this team.
So search and destroy, it's a game mode that I always took pride in myself in. I love that game mode. I love breaking it down. And when I watch Atlanta FaZe, one, they have some of the intangibles that other teams don't have. Intangibles being like players that can sort of work areas on the map situationally better than other players, right? Like they just go over there and their intuition gets them out of these situations, whether it be wall banging a certain spot to clear ground or knowing the timing of when this guy is going to peak. And they have a BZ who's very good at that, right?
I think BZ has gotten really comfortable in search and destroy right now, and I think the pace and aggression that he plays to consistently be able to get a first blood and then continue to stay alive and being untradeable, I think makes them a bit different, but also just the way they can make in-game adjustments in search and destroy as well. Whenever they kind of felt like they were on the back end of things, they changed their game plan in the middle of the map, which would always catch the other team off guard, and then suddenly was just starting to steamroll and nobody really knew how to counter it. So I think their in-game decision making and being able to make that change is huge.
When it comes to S&D and the way that they play, they have two extremely dominant maps. So in Call of Duty, when the veto system happens, you have to pick your poison, whether like, okay, we are going to lose one search and destroy in the series. On Embassy, they're 7-0, and on Asilo, they're now 8-1. They just have everything in their favor right now when it comes to S&D, and you sort of have to crack the code. But even in this game, you can have all the strats that you want. It still comes down to a lot of these bomb sites. You have to take challenges. So when all that's out the window, then you have to go and gun one of these 4 all-stars that you have on this team. So it's a very good formula and extremely tough to beat.
And now, will FaZe continue this momentum going forward? I think so personally. Again, we talk about consistency, and technically they were consistent last year in the fact that they play second the entire time. But I think Atlanta FaZe right now is a little bit more impactful. I don't think they will separate themselves in a sense that nobody will be able to come close to beating them and we can just guarantee and put all of our money on them in a series. But I do think that they are on an upward spiral right now.
First of all, let me just state, winning a Call of Duty tournament, winning a major is extremely, extremely difficult. And the fact that they've done it on a consistent basis for this many years is tippable to the highest degree. Going into Major 3, Atlanta FaZe are the clear favorite. Are they going to dominate everyone? I don't think the Major 3 qualifying performance has shown that just yet. but they're still working on things and there's still some time. So we'll see how they develop. This is a dynasty in the making. I think the Atlanta FaZe have a chance to become the greatest Call of Duty team of all time. When it comes down to Call of Duty champs, we'll see if they're able to prove it.